I want to watch the time here because I want to keep these interviews within, let's say, 15 minutes because I can't, anything longer than 10 minutes for me is too much. The TED Talks are 18 minutes, and that's about as much as I can bear. So when I start my interview with myself, because this is a practice session, but it'll be a real, I'll be telling my own story. I'm going to keep it to 15 minutes. I think that's a good time. So I'm going to start now looking at the clock. So, all right. It's 2:50 a.m. Why am I up? I had that cup of coffee. I can't get to sleep. Forget about it. Now I'm up. So at 3:05 I'm going to kind of tie it in here. So I'm going to be the interviewer and the interviewee. So we'll just play it by ear and see how it goes. This is what I'll do with it, assuming I have another person on Google Hangouts and we're talking. So I'll just do both ends of it. So I'll say, hey, hi, yeah, hi, Gary. Oh, hi, Gary. Okay, now, so just give me a little background before we launch into the a brief background before we launch into your experience as a Sri Chinmoy disciple. In my case now, my background, very typical of a guy, coming of age in this 1960s with the whole LSD thing and Eastern religion. So I was all part of that. I wasn't too politically active. I was much more drawn to the spiritual search. So, so in the late '60s, then Woodstock. Okay, so it's that kind of a mindset. Yeah, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but didn't get too much sex, but other stuff was good. So I was drawn to the Eastern thing, and I was reading the Bhagavad Gita and these kind of things, and I wanted to find my whatever it was that was gonna fix me because obviously I was not happy. So that was my background. Then I ran into a woman in a spiritual bookstore in New York. You know, oh, you're interested in Zen? Oh yeah, and how here's something on the Upanishad. And she told me she worked at the UN, and there was a guy coming a spiritual master every week to the UN. His name was Sri Chinmoy. Why don't I come and check him out sometime? So I said, yeah, why not? I'm looking. I needed, and also I had read a book that said you cannot do this on your own. You must have a guru. So I had that idea in my mind. So I said, yeah, okay, well, I need a guru. So I, as things happen, I met this woman, and then I went to I forget her name. She was the disciple, and then she didn't stay too long. So once I got in, I don't know, she vanished. But anyway, got me in. So what happened was I went to the meditation. I didn't go to the UN because they had meditations on Monday night up in I started going to their regular meditations on Monday night up in Connecticut. So anyway, I went there. I didn't know what to make of the guru. Typical Indian thing with the guru with the dhoti and the kurta and the thing and the incense and the candles and the disciples there like this and he spoke but he mostly meditated, and he would supposedly go into a high state of consciousness and bring down, light and peace for to spread among who was ever sitting there. I went a few weeks and he said, look, to people in general who have been coming there to check him out, look, you have to make a decision. You're either in or out here. There's no point in just coming and going through the motion. So I wasn't really I didn't have any great experience or anything like that, but I was a little drawn to him, and I liked the whole spiritual thing, and so I said, all right, I'm in. I'll become a disciple. So that was it. So then I was in. I was a disciple. I became a disciple. I did the disciple thing. Everybody does the same thing. If you're a woman, you're called a girl. If you're a man, you're called a boy. It doesn't matter if you're 50 or 80 or girls and boys. Girls and boys. So the girls would all wear saris and they would, you know, that would be there. And the boys would wear, there were exceptions, of course, because people had to do certain things, would wear white clothes. I moved to Jamaica, Queens, that's where the center was called the Ohm Center at the time. It later became the Sri Chinmoy Center, and I moved to Jamaica, Queens to be part of that community. I wound up opening up a business called the Smile of the Beyond, which was an ice cream parlor originally, and then expanded into, food. It was like a restaurant with ice cream, and it was vegetarian. It was all vegetarian was the part of the lifestyle. It was we were supposed to be very spiritual. Okay, no meat, no alcohol. No coffee even, but that didn't last long. But no alcohol, no sex. I mean, purity, celibacy, and and vegetarian. So anyway, I plunged into the lifestyle, and I became very devoted for a time. I really got into the whole thing, and I was living in Queens and running this place called the Smile of the Beyond, and going and participating in the lifestyle of the community. There were about 200 or 300 people in Jamaica, Queens, around Parsons Boulevard. They're still there today. They've got their businesses on Parsons Boulevard, near Jamaica Avenue and the Union Turnpike. Uh, Still there, and I was there from 1970 to when I left in 1980. So um, that's that's the brief overview. Um, So I've got about 9 minutes left to keep it succinct. So, um, what attracted me? I don't know. The guru had something going on. I couldn't pin it down, but he was a charismatic figure. I had several uh, pretty dramatic spiritual experiences while I was there, so that kind of kept me glued to my seat, kind of thing. And we were very involved. It was very healthy lifestyle, vegetarian food, very active physically. We ran a lot. We did marathons. We did all kinds of things. Very, very active. So I was very involved, and it was a good time. We had some pretty famous disciples, so we felt like, wow, we're really, yeah, here on the cutting edge of things. We had famous disciples as our guru brothers, and Carlos Santana, John McLaughlin, these people were there, and some other celebrities. So we felt we were really, hot stuff basically, and uh, so it lasted like anything else. It's like a honeymoon, and then it gets over. Then the kind of day-to-day reality um, kicks in. So I was there. I was having a good time. I had a lot of great times. But eventually, the red flags started popping up. It's like, yeah, he's saying this, but it just whatever it was not really clicking after like 5 or 6 years. And then there was a lot of controversy, and people were leaving, and like every spiritual community, there are splits, there are factions. But the thing, I guess, that got me in particular was there was a woman connected with Sri Chinmoy who came over with him from India, a Canadian woman. They were both at this Aurobindo ashram, and this woman was her spiritual name was Alo Devi, and she was touted when I became a disciple. She was touted as being his equivalent in the female form. He was the master, and she was the Shakti. But more than that, after a while, when you got in, the word was that Sri Chinmoy was the Kalki avatar, like the last one, the highest one. Is not going to be another one like him for another half a million years. I heard him say that. And this Alo Devi we regard her as the mother of the universe, like the Aurobindo ashram that had the mother. Well, she was the mother. But then a few years into my discipleship, something happened where they had a little rift or something, and all of a sudden the word came out like Alo is no longer enlightened. She's no longer the mother of the universe. She lost her realization. So that blew my mind right there. That was the turning point. I said, wait, you mean to tell me you can become enlightened, you become realized, and then because of some petty little thing that goes on in your life, like you become jealous, or supposedly she was jealous of the other girls getting more attention, whatever. She lost her realization. So, that was it for me. It was downhill after that. Um, Now, it took me a while to leave because my whole life was there. You cut off from your family, you cut off from your friends. I was there, completely immersed in that community, and I made my living by the store. So it took me a little while to extract myself, but I knew I was gone because I said that to me. I can't. Then this whole greatest avatar thing. I didn't know about all the sex allegations because at this time this stuff didn't come out, and I was pretty naive. I said, oh no, whatever we want to say about Guru, he's not having sex with any disciples. Well, that turned out not to be the case. So um, I left, figuring I got to go because I just can't live with all the the cognitive dissonance. There was too many things going on, but the crucial thing was this Alo Devi person, the mother of the universe, the Shakti of the Kalki avatar, and he claimed that they both claimed they were together through every incarnation, from the rose petals up to the Thomas Jefferson and Russian Revolution. They were like, okay. When I left the center in 1980. I said, well, who knows? Maybe he's enlightened and he, got a little wacky with the Kalki avatar thing. But later on, when I heard about all the allegations, women started coming forward, like the Bill Cosby thing here, And so first, like, no, that one's lying, and no, that one's crazy, and that one's. But after a while, you got like, it's not one, not two, not three, not. It's like a whole lot of them come out, and then they're also longtime disciples. But of course, now they're demonized and they're cut off, and you know they're all making this stuff up. At that point, I said no. This is too no. They have to. And then I spoke to some of the girl. Anyway, I became absolutely convinced that these allegations very much, maybe there was some exaggeration here, maybe even somebody was twisting the truth there, but no, not all these allegations could be false. So at that point, I became kind of like an anti-guru guy, and became very vocal in my criticism of the whole thing on our different little websites. We still have Yahoo group and whatnot. So anyway, my discipleship was mixed. I'm going to wrap it up. I had good times. I had, some like, oh man, I got to go to another event tonight. I just closed my store. I mean, the whole thing with religious groups, I'm calling them religious groups, okay? The thing is, you keep the disciple on the treadmill, running, working, little sleep. So this way they're not sitting there thinking about, you don't think. It's like, hey, I don't have time to think. Sorry, I got to run home and put on my dhoti and get over to the meditation, and I got to do all these things. So I don't know. That's my overall experience. To end on a good note, like my interview with Jerry Katz recently, end on a good note. That was a tremendous experience because it gave me a real taste of what it's like to be a follower of a master and to plunge into the spiritual life and make a total 100% commitment. And I'll tell you, that put a stamp on me. That after I left that, I mean, then I said, the heck with that stuff. But it didn't take long for that same thing that brought me there originally to kick in again and plunge me ahead. Where hey, it's the only game in town. Searching for truth, finding it, because as I say, without that urge to know the truth, life is pretty, I don't know, dull and meaningless. So I'm happy. I'm grateful that I had that experience. It made me the man I am today. In many ways it did. I'm being facetious, but I hope to talk to other disciples and get other angles. And I want to flesh the whole thing out. But at that, my 15 minutes is up. 15 minutes of fame, or whatever you want to call it. So I hope other people will join my project. And as we used to do in the center, so good.